Hey, welcome to World Code Updates. Please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for more updates. The year is 2025. The world stands on the edge of a new era where old alliances are being tested and the balance of power in Asia is more fragile than ever before. Cities across the region pulse with anticipation, their lights flickering like beacons in the night as the world watches and waits for what comes next. The tropical air over the South China Sea is thick with tension, as a Philippine Coast Guard vessel, on what was supposed to be a routine resupply mission, suddenly finds its path blocked by a Chinese cutter. The two ships drift in uneasy proximity, their crews exchanging wary glances, every movement loaded with the possibility of escalation. The water, usually a highway for trade and travel, has become a stage for a high-stakes geopolitical drama. Then, in a move that stuns both crews, a North Korean patrol boat appears on the horizon. It cuts through the waves with purpose, positioning itself directly between the Philippine and Chinese vessels. The arrival of this third player transforms the standoff, injecting a new layer of uncertainty and danger. No one expected North Korea to intervene here, and the implications are immediate and profound. Why would North Korea, a nation so dependent on China for its survival, ever consider defending the Philippines? This question reverberates through newsrooms and government offices across the globe, upending everything we assume about the region's alliances. Analysts scramble to make sense of this unprecedented move, while ordinary people watch in disbelief as the story unfolds. The world has long expected North Korea and China to be inseparable, lips and teeth as the old saying goes. Their relationship, forged in war and maintained through decades of mutual support, has seemed unbreakable. Images of their leaders shaking hands and celebrating shared victories have reinforced the idea that their destinies are intertwined. China is more than just an ally to Pyongyang. It is North Korea's economic lifeline, its main trading partner, and its most reliable diplomatic shield on the world stage. Every day, goods and resources flow across their shared border, keeping the North Korean regime afloat and its people supplied. For Kim Jong-un to openly defy Beijing would seem like strategic suicide. The risks are enormous: economic isolation, political backlash, and the loss of his most powerful supporter. Yet the North Korean leader is no stranger to bold, unpredictable moves, and the world has learned never to underestimate his willingness to challenge expectations. History, after all, is full of smaller nations making daring, unexpected moves to assert their independence and reshape the global order. From sudden diplomatic realignments to acts of defiance that catch the world off guard, the actions of the seemingly powerless can have outsized impacts. Could cracks exist beneath the surface of the Sino-North Korean alliance? Might Pyongyang see opportunity in Manila's struggle, or perhaps a chance to send a message to Beijing? The possibility of shifting loyalties and hidden agendas adds a new layer of intrigue to an already complex situation. This paradox invites us to look deeper, to explore the hidden motivations and shifting alliances that define Asian geopolitics. In a region where nothing is ever quite as it seems, the events unfolding in the South China Sea may be just the beginning of a much larger story, one that could reshape the future of the entire continent. To truly grasp the magnitude of North Korea turning against China, we need to look beyond the headlines and understand the roots of their relationship, a relationship built on decades of shared struggle, mutual benefit, and strategic necessity. Their deep historical alliance is not just a matter of convenience, but a partnership forged in the crucible of war and maintained through years of political and economic interdependence. This bond was cemented during the Korean War, when Chinese troops crossed the Yalu River to support Kim Il-sung's regime, preventing its collapse and altering the course of history on the Korean peninsula. The blood shed together on the battlefield created a sense of brotherhood that has echoed through generations. In the decades since, China has served as North Korea's economic lifeline, supplying vital food, fuel, and humanitarian aid, as well as shielding Pyongyang from international isolation. Without China's support, North Korea's survival would have been far more precarious. For Beijing, North Korea is more than just a neighbor. It's a crucial buffer state that keeps U.S. military forces at arm's length from China's own borders, preserving a delicate balance of power in East Asia. Ensuring the Kim regime's survival is a core Chinese interest, woven into the fabric of its regional security strategy and foreign policy calculations. Any move by Pyongyang that threatens Beijing's interests, such as interfering in the South China Sea or aligning with China's rivals, would not just be a diplomatic slight, but a monumental gamble with potentially catastrophic consequences. The famous lips and teeth analogy isn't just poetic language, it's a reflection of their strategic codependence, where the fate of one is intimately tied to the other. Over 70 years, this alliance has weathered leadership changes, global crises, and shifting geopolitical tides. Challenging this bond would require a motivation powerful enough to override not just political interests, but the weight of history itself. So, what could possibly drive North Korea to risk everything and turn its back on its oldest and most vital ally? The answer may lie in forces and ambitions that go far beyond what we see on the surface. The idea of North Korea stepping in to aid the Philippines might sound shocking at first, especially given the country's reputation for isolation and unpredictability on the world stage, but if we look closer at history, this scenario isn't as far-fetched as it seems. In fact, there's a surprising precedent for North Korea reaching out to the Philippines in a time of regional tension. Back in the 1970s, North Korea made headlines by publicly supporting the Philippines' claims in the disputed Spratly Islands. This bold move put Pyongyang at odds with both China and the Soviet Union, two of its most powerful allies at the time. This wasn't just a random act of diplomacy. It was part of a broader strategy by Pyongyang to build relationships with developing nations, assert its independence from superpowers, and carve out its own space in global politics. By supporting Manila, North Korea hoped to gain diplomatic recognition and legitimacy on the world stage, showing that it could make its own decisions and form alliances beyond the influence of Beijing or Moscow. This episode in history reveals that North Korea's foreign policy isn't always dictated by Beijing. The regime has shown a willingness to act independently and even challenge its traditional partners when it sees a strategic advantage. The Kim regime has often acted pragmatically, seizing opportunities to advance its interests, even if it means surprising the world or breaking with expected alliances. The Spratly Islands episode is a clear example of how Pyongyang can diverge from China when it suits its own goals, setting a precedent for future diplomatic surprises. If we study these past actions, we can see patterns that might foreshadow future surprises from North Korea on the international stage. So, as new crises emerge in Asia, it's worth asking, could history repeat itself, with North Korea once again making unexpected moves that catch the world off guard? North Korea and the Philippines share a legacy in the non-aligned movement, seeking independence from both Western and Eastern blocs. For Pyongyang, Nam was a diplomatic lifeline, allowing engagement beyond the communist world. The Philippines, though a U.S. ally, valued Nam for asserting its own Asian identity. Within Nam, both countries built relationships based on mutual respect and non-interference. This history established a precedent for direct, independent dialogue between Manila and Pyongyang. The spirit of non-alignment, putting national interests first, remains in both nations' foreign policy DNA. Under the right circumstances, this spirit could revive unexpected partnerships. Could a shared desire to resist regional dominance bring them together again? The Philippines and North Korea have had a rocky diplomatic relationship, marked by engagement, rupture, and cautious renewal. Formal ties were established in 2000, as both sought to break out of Cold War isolation. Relations have often frozen due to North Korea's nuclear provocations and Manila's compliance with UN sanctions. Yet, the door has never fully closed. The Philippines hosts the ASEAN Regional Forum, one of the few venues where North Korea engages in security dialogue. Humanitarian gestures like food aid during North Korean famines have kept a basic connection alive. This complex history means communication channels exist, ready to be activated if geopolitics shift. A sudden pivot in their relationship is more feasible than it appears. Nations act not out of friendship, but from cold calculations of national interest. Economics, geography, history, and self-preservation drive every major foreign policy decision. For North Korea, economic desperation could push it toward unconventional partners. Geography shapes security concerns, the Philippines' maritime vulnerability, North Korea's proximity to China and U.S. forces. History and self-interest intertwine, past alliances and threats shape today's choices. For authoritarian regimes like North Korea, regime survival trumps all. Any move, no matter how strange, is weighed against the question, will this make us safer and stronger? Even the most unlikely alliances can emerge from this logic. In geopolitics, self-preservation is the ultimate compass. International alliances are not permanent vows, they shift with national interests. Former enemies become partners, old friends drift apart. The US and Japan, once bitter foes, are now close allies. China and Vietnam, once at war, now trade extensively. Alliances form to counter threats or achieve goals, but dissolve when interests diverge. Realpolitik means nations constantly reevaluate partnerships. What have you done for me lately? Even the North Korea-China alliance, durable as it is, could change if Pyongyang feels threatened or taken for granted. The Kim regime's survival is its top priority. Alliances are tools, not sentimental bonds. Why would North Korea risk defying China to support the Philippines? The answer: leverage. Pyongyang's dependence on Beijing leaves it vulnerable. By acting independently, North Korea could force China to offer more aid or respect in exchange for compliance. It's strategic blackmail, creating a crisis to extract concessions. Simultaneously, Pyongyang could signal to Washington that it's more than just a nuclear problem, opening doors for new negotiations. This gambit is about balancing power and enhancing regime survival. The risk of Chinese retaliation is huge, but the potential rewards, autonomy, new diplomatic openings, might seem worth it. For North Korea, it's a desperate but calculated roll of the dice. Could North Korea truly defend the Philippines against China? Highly improbable, but not impossible in the ruthless logic of geopolitics. This scenario forces us to question our assumptions about alliances and enmities. The world is a dynamic chessboard, not a static map. North Korea's actions could be brinkmanship, balancing power, extracting concessions, or exploiting instability. The lesson: never underestimate a nation's capacity for surprising moves when survival is at stake. Diplomatic ties between North Korea, the Philippines, and China are more complex than they appear. What seems unbreakable can change overnight. The next move is always unknown, so keep watching.